So there's not really like the best places to film, but the sun's all over there. I don't know. We're gonna have to deal with it. I talked to one of my friends about the direction that I want my content to go. And I want to be not completely out there with everything that goes on in my life, obviously, but I do want to keep it as raw and original as possible. Hence, you're seeing me not in my best. Dreads are a mess. I'm sweaty and stinky from being around all day. Covered in like little scabs from bushwhacking a week ago. Yeah, so I hope that you guys don't mind. What I wanted to talk about today is something that has really taken a toll on me, I'd say, the last couple of days. Obviously, like, it's, when I say it, you're gonna be like, oh, well, it's something that happens throughout life, but more specifically, I've been dealing with a lot more over the last couple of days. So I just want to talk to you guys about basically evaluating your relationships with people and how important it is to step back, take yourself out of any situations or timelines, however long you've known them or whatever, and just basically focus on whether or not that person brings any substance to your relationship or to your life. You don't really want to keep people in your life that aren't going to be the best and aren't going to bring anything positive to the table. You also don't want to allow people to stay in your life just because you've known them for X amount of years, or that they're like this person in relation to this or whatever. So I had this all planned out when I originally thought of this a couple minutes ago, but basically I went through a couple situations recently this past week or so where I've really had to step back and figure out if it's worth keeping certain people in my life. And there's people that I've tried to rekindle friendships with and so on that now, just because of so much damage, it's just not salvageable. Or at least I don't think it's salvageable. I speak for myself when I say I'm the type of person that I will trust you and I will give you almost all of my heart. Not all of it, but almost all of it, until you do something that I feel is very, like, just not what I value. So it goes against what I need in my life, and that would be like things like trust, honesty. Those, I think, loyalty is like up there, but I think those two would be like the top two. There's so many bugs. And just like recently, it's people time after time again just show that they lack that, at least in our friendship towards me. I'm not saying that they're bad people and that they're bad friends, just our dynamic isn't the same, and the expectations that I have are the same as what I'm putting out. So I'm not going to keep trying to ask people to hang out if they're not interested in it and they don't ask me back. And I'm not going to like put myself out there and start talking about personal things if they don't do that to me. So it's really a two-way street, and I know this is common sense, but sometimes you just have to hear it again from somebody else. And with everything going on in the world right now, it shows a lot of people's character. And I'm not talking about COVID, I'm talking about the Black Lives Matter movement. I know it's not really a movement, but the Black Lives Matter, and it just shows a lot of people's priorities, and it shows a lot of their character, and that doesn't align with my character or what I believe. And that's where I need to step back and evaluate and be like, okay, is this something that I can just like dismiss? This difference, is it something that I can just dismiss, or is it something that actually bothers me and goes against my values and my core beliefs and things like that? So I challenge everybody to do that with every single relationship in their life. That means family, that means close friends, co-workers, everything like that. You need to question everything. So I was listening to a podcast when I was walking my dog. And ironic enough, it's how to heal emotional injury and how trust works. And I say it's ironic because of what happened, I guess 2 days ago now, and today, literally after I finished the podcast with somebody. So I just want you to listen to a part. This is from the podcast, Something You Should Know, and it's available on the Apple Podcast app. I'm not sure if it's available on Spotify, but I like listening to these types of ones because it gets you really in your mind and self-reflecting. But I want you to listen to this.
What does it with a sincere apology, but it's making and keeping commitments. That's the only way to really rebuild it. Don't keep it.
Trust, and how do you get trust? And are some people just, some people are just more trustworthy than others.
Even you, and I can confidently believe in that you, when you
Trustworthy type, do people generally trust you? It's important because, well, so much of our personal and professional success is based on trust, our ability to trust others and their ability to trust us. So how do you use trust? How does the whole trust thing work? David Horshauger is a consultant and speaker who has spent a lot of time looking at the subject of trust. His book is called The Trust Edge. Welcome, David. And so let's define our terms here. What is trust? How do you define the term?
I define trust as a confident belief in. So if I confidently believe in you, if I confidently believe in Mike, time goes down, costs go down, skepticism goes down, all these positives happen when I can confidently believe in you, and I can confidently believe in that you, when you say that, you mean it. I can confidently believe in that product. I can confidently believe in that person. I can confidently believe in that process. Everything changes, So whether you're a mom at home and running your family, or you're running a huge Fortune 100 company, when trust goes up, output, morale, retention, productivity, innovation, loyalty all go up. Cost, problems, skepticism, attrition, time, and stress all go down. So when trust goes up in a relationship just with your spouse, all those things happen. Costs actually go down, time, stress goes down. When it happens in a big company or a nonprofit or a friendship, same thing.
So the idea then is to get people to trust you.
Right, and by being most trustworthy, of course, the most deceptive person is the one that builds faux trust, that in fact acts trustworthy when he or she is not. So, and over time, that's always found out. You've got to have competency at that. So there's the competency pill. I have such a difficult time in America, similar to trust, in that it takes a long time to grow, to earn, and yet a touch of carelessness, and you can lose the whole thing. That is true, basically, with a character breach. So you think of a Tiger Woods, some grace often with ourselves. And so there is a two-way street that we learn to trust, and they give trust. Managers that extend trust, we tend to step up toward. Now, some people don't, but generally, when we find a manager who extends more trust, people step up to it. Kids often that we extend the right kind of trust with discernment, they tend to step up and be better kids, So yes, there's certainly an interplay there with how much you extend trust, and then you get more trust, and you extend more trust to each other, and it certainly happens. It is like that. But I would start, by thinking not just how much I can trust that person or not, but how much am I being trusted? When I am the most trusted, consistent, high character, and all those things, then I tend to, have more trust extended to me, and it goes deeper and lasts longer.
So, David, when it comes to trust, does one indiscretion ruin everything? You could be, trustworthy 9,999 times, but one time you overslept.
That's a very interesting notion. Trust is like a forest. If you think of the sequoias out in California, scientists say they took 2,200 years to grow. And a touch of carelessness by a camper with a match can burn the whole thing down in a fraction of the time it took to build. In one way, that's similar to trust, in that it takes a long time to grow, to earn, and yet a touch of carelessness, and you can lose the whole thing. That is true, basically, with a character breach. So you think of a Tiger Woods, someone with their spouse, a character breach of trust It is hard to regain. It can happen. You have to make and keep commitments. I think that overslept one time in 999, you'll be given the benefit of the doubt because you've been so consistent. So the point is, be consistent. Yes, if you make a mistake like we all do, it'll be overlooked. If it's a character breach, people find out that breach, and that's very, very difficult to overcome and forgive.
Why do you think, and maybe my premise is wrong, but I think that most people understand what a commitment is, that if they say they're going to do something, they should do it, and yet the world is full of flaky people who say, yes, I'll be there when they're not, or I'll be on time when they're late, and, what's going on there? I mean, do you think it's just a character flaw that they just don't, I mean, what is that?
Well, I'll tell you what, some people don't. They just don't think about their commitment. There's people, they just say they'll do things to get their way. I have the last guy that sold me a car said he would be we had a very big, fabulous book.
So basically I wanted to show you that one section because it's talking about the difference between breaking general trust and breaking like character trust, which in itself is very different. Breaking trust is just breaking trust. Breaking character trust is somebody believing in you and you showing them a different type of character than what they're used to. So in my case, what I'm going to refer to is my previous relationship. And I don't like to talk about my previous relationship that much on the internet. I know I made a video once or something and I mentioned it before. But it was harder for me to, and I'm still not over it. I will admit that. I'm not over what had happened, and my trust is not automatically just regained because it's a different type of trust. Because a trust, like they said, you could be consistent and then just have one slip up and it's easier for somebody to forgive you. But if you are constantly letting somebody down, or like, it may not be constant. It may be like you do a bunch of good stuff and then you let them down. You do a bunch of good stuff and then you let them down. That's not really the best type of trust that you're gonna have with that person, and it's very hard to overcome that. As soon as you break that kind of trust, it takes so long to rebuild that, and I don't think people understand. And when I say to reevaluate your friendships and your relationships, that's mostly what I'm talking about, is the people that are positive influencers, the people that push you and push your drive and see your ambition and feed into it. And they don't just sit there and break you down and say, why haven't you done this, or you haven't finished this yet. They try to understand you as a person. They don't just write you off as XYZ. They're somebody that you can fully count on, and they should be people that you can trust and just trust their character in general. That's the whole reason why we have relationships with certain people and not with other people, is because our characters just don't clash sometimes, and sometimes they do. And as soon as somebody turns their back and pulls something that just basically breaks that trust, that character trust, like, that's it. Unless you actually consistently work at it, it's not gonna go back to the way it was, and it'll always be in the back of the mind, as long as that takes, and it might be there forever. And I think a lot of people have a problem with swallowing that pill of, I fucked up, but it's not just I fucked up like I was late, it's I lied to them, I stole from them, I used them, things like that. That's a character break. That's not, like, in my instance, and especially with everything that's been going on with the Black Lives Matter and just things in general going on in my life and seeing how people react, it's painfully obvious who's in my life for what reason. And it's very hard to find now people that want to be in your life genuinely because they want to be in your life, not because they like the way that you make them feel, you give them attention, they like the idea of you. That's always something that I find, is that people either just want to get in my pants or they like the idea of me. And getting to know me is a completely different story than how I look or what I do in the bedroom. So it goes way beyond that, and I think a lot of people nowadays are just very selfish and they want their own gain. And yeah, I think it's super important to really sit back and figure out who's worth keeping in your life going forward. And you're not supposed to hang on to the same group of friends as you grow, because chances are it's either going to stunt your growth or you guys will just like fake growing. Like, you won't grow together, but you'll kind of always pretend that you're together. And I don't understand the people that have friends from elementary school and high school. I have some people I still talk to from those days, but oh my god, there's a bug. But for the most part, as I've grown, my friends have grown. I've moved, my friends have changed, and vice versa, whatever. So yeah, it's just very important to actually sit back and evaluate everything going on in your life and question everything. Your relationships, your location, where you live, your job, your mental state, your character traits. Like, we constantly have to be evolving our character traits too. If you realize, or somebody says, hey, you know, I really wish that you were a little bit more understanding, that's something that's constructive criticism. It's not attacking your character at all, but it's constructive criticism. Okay, I need to learn to be more understanding, and that's fine. And we're not all perfect, and we do have to grow. It's part of life. That's why we're here. That's why we get put in certain situations, because if we weren't supposed to grow, we would just be literally robots waking up, eating, shitting, going to work, and that would be it, and we wouldn't be evolving the way we do. So it's very important in your self-growth and in your life in general with changing and evolving that you also kind of filter out your friends and the people that you surround yourself with. Because if I hung out with the same people that I hung out with in high school, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be where I am today. Even if I hung out with the people that I lived in Toronto with, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be where I am at this very moment. I probably wouldn't have dreadlocks in my hair. I probably wouldn't have the van. I would never have bought the dirt bike. So as I grew, my location changed, my friends changed, my style changed, my hair changed, everything changed, and that's fine. And I don't understand why everybody is so scared to walk away from people that don't hold value in their life. And I say this from the bottom of my tiny little heart. Please just listen to your intuition, listen to your gut, and price yourself higher than you already are. Because there will be people out there that will come into your life that will be better for you than the people that have already been there, family included. And you have to let go of the people that don't align with you anymore in order to make room for new people. And you have to allow yourself to let go of relationships in order to open your heart for new ones. And it sucks because you might feel lonely. I sure as fuck feel lonely right now. But at the same time, I know that I do have good people. Even the ones that left, I still have people that appreciate me and gas me up and tell me that I'm awesome. And they bring value and they listen to me and I can trust them. And you might only need a few people that do that. But the alone feeling is something that is temporary. And when you find those people that actually bring value to your life, then the love that they bring to you is forever. So take what you will from this whole video. If you want to listen to the podcast, I will write the name in the description for you so you can go and check the whole thing out. I think it's about half an hour. They have a lot of other ones. And I will also leave in the comment section below a relationship podcast that I listen to religiously. that has taught me a lot. And if you guys have any like self-healing, self-love, anything like that type of podcast that you would recommend, then please feel free to leave them in the comments. I can go through and listen to them as well as everybody else then, and we can kind of share content that way. If you like this video, then you can give it a thumbs up. You can hit the subscribe button, and I don't know, I guess that's it. I'm gonna see where the sunset went away. Oh, it's way over there. I'm gonna see if I can get some cool shots of the sunset. But I hope that you guys are doing well in these times, and just remember that you're not alone. At the end of the day, you're not alone. Yeah, just keep your head up. Okay, stay cool.
Anyone you say